And we are live, I think. Yes. No, am I muted? Let me see. I don't think so. Um, yeah, morning. Welcome, everybody. This is day 2 of NaNoWriMo and day 2 of Prisma Arena, the adventure series. Struggling with some technical issues in the background and getting some social media posts out. So this is definitely a learning experience, trying to get my head around all of this, because usually the wonderful Idle Michael looks after all of this in the background. So picking up from yesterday's episode, our hero Lenore, who's here. You see, I'll put her under this camera here. So you can see her. She is on her way to Beacon, where the Prisma Arena is located, with her kind of carer, who is, let me check, with her carer, Ariba, who is, acting as her guide for the show, or kind of for the journey. And she, on the way, they essentially encountered a spy along the way who was a ranger of the forest of Henron, who was being accused of being a bringer of despair, and he kind of bluffed and said he was acting undercover, but in fact was actually working for Apathy, who is one of the other kind of great Mokons that is currently slumbering and nowhere to be found, because we are in the time of despair right now. Lenore was chased by them. She managed to escape, and actually went to Hendron to warn them of the spy, where she was confronted by the Rangers, and the spy himself, and she decided the best opportunity was for her to flee. Now, someone tried to join her, who, in my head, will play a bigger role. It was a young character who essentially is going to be this character, I think, from the story. Asked to come with her, and she turned them down. So I'm hoping that's going to create some kind of nice antagonism later on in the game. So I was talking to John Fury, my co-designer, after this, and John, I have to hand it to John. He is the one who did like so much work on the framework of Untold, ensuring that it told incredible stories. And I did a couple of things wrong when I was playing the game, particularly when it came to the plot thickens and the truth's revealed. So when I was playing them yesterday, I kind of did them as cutaways, almost like as separate scenes, whereas they should really be like a continuation of a dangerous dilemma or a heroic undertaking. And yeah, so there's a couple of things I'm going to try and change and improve, but that's kind of the point of playing it for the month of NaNoWriMo, is hopefully by the end of it, I will have mastered my own game or my own co-design. Yeah, so I think that's it. Just give a shout out. I am doing this kind of in the run up to the launch of Prisma Arena. The reviews are starting to land for that, and happily it's getting really kind of positive reviews as a family game and something being more than just that. I am noticed for some reason on my phone, my messages are still coming in. So I'm going to just switch off for a second, try and fix that, and then I'll jump back on. Hang on a second. That's odd. I wasn't doing it yesterday. Okay, so hold on a second. So I'm back, and like I said, by the end of the month, I'll probably be a master of all of this tech. So yeah, maybe I'll post my setup at some point. It's fairly heavily jury rigged, and just hope it all holds together as we're playing. So yeah, I think I'm gonna. What I was saying is actually, so Prisma Arena launches on November 13th in North America. It's available to pre-order. Reviews are coming in. I'm kind of playing this game to just celebrate that launch and also like flesh out the world for people, and it'll also hopefully give me ideas for expansions, characters, scenarios that we can play with the game as well, and hopefully it'll help people feel more attached to the characters. I haven't allowed myself the luxury to kind of think about the story because I've just been kind of focused on the gameplay and getting that working. So yeah, kind of curious to see how all this plays out. So this episode is going to open with the characters Lenore and Ariba kind of fleeing the forest on the Buglar, which is like almost like the flying kind of water beetle type creature. So let's see where they end up, because the episode is going to open with a dangerous dilemma. So yeah, I'll take my coffee and then we'll jump in. Okay, so let's see what's going to happen. So we're going to start with a dangerous dilemma. I will say there is still kind of lag on the camera for this overhead display, as you can see. I'm still trying to work that one out. Hopefully by tomorrow or pretty soon we'll have that addressed. So I'm going to reveal a dangerous dilemma. And we discover, so it's kind of similar to yesterday, there are actually 6 different types here. That at some location, a threat is, again, accusing, threatening, blackmailing someone else. And the symbols in here indicate that we could carry through elements from previous episodes for the ongoing nature of it. I'm not going to do that. I think I want to create some more kind of locations. I will also say, like, I didn't use the episode guide at the beginning because I'm kind of continuing on the story from before. And I won't need to create characters because I'm playing with the same characters as well. So it kind of makes the later episodes a lot quicker to kind of jump into and get playing. So this should be a fairly fast episode, actually. Okay, so Lenore and Reba are on the Buglar. They're traveling. Let's see what they encounter. Because again, as John is reminding me that this is all about my characters getting caught up in the action. Ooh, let me see. So this kind of grabs my attention here. So these two kind of grab my attention because I kind of want to introduce new kind of characters and stuff. Because I never saw Prisma Arena as being just occupied by kind of humanoids. It should be kind of like an eclectic mix. So I'm going to say, so I'm going to kind of combine the two of these together, I think. So this also. Okay, well, I'll follow my own rule, go with the first thing that grabs my attention. So I'm going to looking at like a merchant town, maybe a seaport. So let me see, what are we going to call this? So as they're traveling along with the Buglar, because it's kind of like a water beetle, maybe it stops at the kind of the seaport of Havener, I think. Let's see. I always go for H-sounding names. No, so let me see. Because we've got Hendron. So I'm going to call this Glorthon. So I'm going to mark this down as a location down here. So I'm going to call it Lorcan, and that is kind of like a seaport. Where let me see, a band of so I'm gonna go with this one, and I kind of want these like kind of terrapin turtlesque creatures. So actually, let me again. Gotta remember to switch. So I'm kind of using this one as a set of kind of terrapin type creatures. So a okay, I'm gonna say actually a lone like trader. Because this is kind of like a seaport. So I'm going to say and I'm going to call them terrapins. So I'll pull it a terrapan. So a terrapan is accusing or threatening someone or something. So that's what we see. The episode opens and is very disgruntled character. Is he doing that? Let's see. Yeah, okay. So I will confess, I kind of struggle with this one a little bit sometimes, because it could also be kind of blackmailing things that are happening off camera. So I'm gonna say we kind of had an accusing last time. So he's spreading rumors. Like he's so he's kind of there and he's spreading rumors. Who is he spreading rumors about? So I'm gonna take your question token and spend it and roll the story cubes. So this, he's like kind of talking to anyone who will listen and spreading these rumors that let me see. That the so this one's going to grab my attention here. Let me switch to dice tray. And again, what I'm trying to do is I'm really trying to frame it from the perspective of Lenore being the kind of young character, and they're traveling. So things that would kind of get her into the story. So he's accusing the villagers of kind of unfair treatment in his dealings, and they won't let him, into the. Yeah, they're kind of blocking him from trading, and it's not fair. He's trying to make a living. So he's kind of on the verge of kind of aggression. He's getting really kind of angry. Maybe he is. He's causing a storm in the village, and he's kind of like breaking up stalls in kind of sheer frustration and anger, and saying that he's being treated unfairly and he's not being let into the guild. So I will kind of watch it. I think I'm going to. My kind of instinct is to talk to him, but I'm going to see how are the people around kind of reacting to his behavior. So I'm going to take another sort of cube. Like, I wonder, like, are they really doing it or not? Yeah, so I think what they're saying is that times are tight. So the villagers are kind of upset because this is kind of the time of despair. Things have been really tight for the villagers. And they're kind of rightly or wrongly, they're maybe worried that the Terrapan is actually going to bring. Maybe they've had a run-in with despair in the past, and they're worried they're gonna him being here is going to attract despair to their town. And they're really kind of they want to close the doors and kind of keep it to their own kind, essentially, which is the cause of his frustration. So let me see. This is kind of a weird one, but I wonder what he's trying to. No, so I'm gonna go and try. Let me see. What would I do? I'm gonna switch back to my top view first of all. So what would Lenore do? I'm gonna go up and offer to buy something from him. See where that gets me. I'm gonna talk to him. Try and talk calmly to him, and summon. Who am I gonna summon out of my? I suppose. I'm gonna summon Sonna, who represents kind of happiness. Actually, I'm gonna summon Donna, who represents confidence, and I'm gonna go over and try and talk to him. I'm gonna ask him what he has to sell. So I'm gonna try and be friendly with him, and I'll see what the outcome of that is. So I'm gonna go talk, interact with him, and be friendly, and try and calm him down that way. So we'll see what the outcome is. Then I didn't shuffle these before I started, so I'm gonna shuffle. Okay. So I'm going to set that down. I'm going to reveal the outcome card. Okay. So he seems to appreciate that I've made the effort to try and talk to him. And I offered to buy some items from him. So I'm just going to roll and see. I don't know if I'll use this part of my questions. He calms down, and he's says to me, thank you. At least there's someone in this village who's willing to do business. We are suffering just as much as you are, and we must travel. There is no work to be found in our village, and we must travel in order to trade our wares, so that I may look after my family. So he offers me something. So I'm just going to roll and see what he offers. Might be an interesting item. So he offers me a. So this kind of grabs my attention. This one here. So I'm going to say, no, actually, fitting with my character. I'm going to put these two together and call them lightning herbs. And that they have, like, I spot them on his stall as he's talking, and I say, "Oh, are they lightning herbs? So, oh my god, they have such incredible properties. Do you mind if I buy some?" So I'm gonna buy some of those items from him. So I'm gonna buy some lightning herbs because they only come from his area, and I'm gonna ask him to introduce himself. So what is his name? So I'm going to say Gorkin. And so he's a trader. So Gorkin the Terrapin trader. So I'm going to, as an action then, I'm going to turn to the other people in the village and kind of climb up in the box, nearby, and say, look, we're all suffering during these difficult times, but we cannot exclude each other from this. For we know the time of hope is coming, and we can't let despair beat us. We need to work together and support each other, even if it's just a small gesture. So I'm going to see how people respond to my kind of heartfelt quest. So I'm going to jump back here. So I'm going to reveal the outcome card. Okay, I know things are going well, which means it's going to get tougher later on. So people kind of start muttering, and they kind of calm down and start to kind of walk away, and they start kind of going back about their business. A few people come over and start kind of buying things from him and offering to trade with Gorkin, and he kind of begrudgingly kind of resets the stall, apologizes for maybe kind of knocking a couple of things down, but things start to go back to normal. I think that kind of has cleared up. So as things are calming down, though, this is where we've got to see if how the plot thickens. So things appear to be kind of calming down a little, but we discover that the villagers have a dark secret. So as things are going back to normal, and again, this is the kind of mistake I made yesterday. I linked it as a different scene. I'm trying to keep it as part of the same scene. So things are going back to return to normal when I spot. Okay, this just grabs my attention straight away. Okay, because this is like, let's see if I can focus. Nope, this camera does not want to focus. Maybe if I do something like that behind it. Yeah. Okay. So it's kind of the rainbow. So I think they have kind of, as things go back to normal, I spot kind of in a building in the distance a glow from like a kind of a Prisma shard. And so one of the things I do know in the world of Prisma Arena is hope is encased in this kind of crystalline structure, which is infused with Prisma. And these Prisma shards are kind of used as power sources. So I, as a hero, have access to kind of Prisma and channel it, but sometimes it gets infused into stone and is kind of used to power things with this kind of arcanic magic. So I'm going to say that I noticed that there's kind of people over and kind of going into the building and I see this kind of almost like burst of Prisma coming out. And it's maybe pulsing in light, and they look like they're guarding it. So they kind of don't want people to kind of, they're acting very suspicious around where this Prisma shard, what I think is a Prisma shard, is being kept. So I think I should probably go and investigate and see what's going on with that. Because maybe that's why they're being so defensive and want to keep people out of the village, that they have this secret that they're trying to hold on to. So let's see. So I'm gonna go and investigate what's going on. So I'm gonna go to a new location. So hopefully it'll be something that will fit the building. Okay. So when I go over, it is going to be so I'm going to use a modified token because there's something here that's going to caught my attention. So I'm going to use a modified token and turn it to this. And I'm going to use it like the kind of almost transport hub. Again, let me check. So I wonder if I actually, let me try this. I'll set up tomorrow, so I think I have the dice cam in here as well. So dice tray. So I'm going to use this icon, which is the plane. So I'm going to let me see if I can get that to focus a little bit more. No, got to work on that too. So it turns out that it's kind of like a transport depot. And I go over and with Ariba, who's obviously telling me to like, come on, we need to get to Beacon. And I said, well, let's just take a look and see what's going on here. And as I peer in the window to see what's going on, so I'm going to turn this around because it's one of the best things I saw it happen before in another game. So I'm going to turn this around and use it as like an ethereal creature. So I spot an ethereal kind of creature. So it's kind of like where the kind of bugglers would land and land vehicles are. And it's a hub for kind of commuters' goods being transported around the land of Sullus. So it's kind of like a big warehouse, I think, with a kind of, there's the public area in the front where people come and they book kind of carriages or bugglers to travel around. And there's also kind of like a storage area in the back, and the glow is coming from this area in the back. And as I kind of sneak in, and I think I go around the side and pull out some floorboards, as I'm going in, I notice this ethereal creature that is not made up of Prisma. It's a much darker tone. So yeah, I'm going to say that it is actually a kind of almost like a scout for despair. So it's got that kind of black wispiness, and it's actually being drawn to this. And maybe there's 2 or 3 of them, and they're kind of whirling around in this space. And I see the kind of guard that was mining it has they've been kind of knocked out, and when they've been overcome by despair, and they're lying on the ground with wisps of that kind of dark smoke coming from them. And these kind of ethereal creatures turn and they see me, and they start chasing for me because this symbol here represents they're pursuing. So they start pursuing myself, and Ariba looks at me. Like, why every single time we try to do something you get us into trouble? And I kind of go, well, I guess it's all part of being a guardian, which I will be one day as soon as we get to Beacon. And I start running between the kind of boxes and bags of storage that are here. So I'm going to run and try and duck out of cover just to buy myself some time. So I'm going to flip this. And I know I'm going through all the good cards, so eek. Okay, so I fail. I just so I think I duck in behind something, think I'm okay, but I hear this kind of groaning sound as they get closer to me, and there's this kind of, what is it? I don't want to do that standard. So there's kind of a child, you're no match for despair. And they move in on me even closer. So as a last ditch attempt, I am going to try and summon my Prisma power, and just try and I put my hands up to see if I can hold him off. And let's see what happens. Okay, I do it. This I feel is kind of welling up of light and power inside me, and a burst comes out, which kind of knocks these kind of ethereal shadows back. Yeah, so I'm going to call them the Shadows of Despair. Ooh, okay. So these are the Shadows of Despair. So this burst comes out of me, knocks them back. I've no real control over my Prisma just yet, I don't think. And what do I do? I feel like I want to protect the Prisma. So I'm going to... Okay, I know what to do. I'm going to try and summon... 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm missing. Oh yeah, New Hawk. So I'm going to summon Donna and get them to go for help. So Donna is this one here, the Confident. Ooh. So I'm going to try and summon Donna. So summon my Confidence and tell them to go in and get help. So let me see how I get on with that. So I'm going to take my second token. Okay, so I get no and. So I'll do the two together. So I get no and. So it's kind of embarrassing. So I summon Donna. Well, I don't. I maybe summon like this. It comes in like a tiny little form because of like little to no confidence. Or actually, you know what happens? I'm gonna summon. What happens is I accidentally summon Agla, who represents kind of fear and nervousness. So I don't summon Donna. I summon Agla, and that actually compounds my fear, and I start running. I kind of start to cower back in and hide, I think. So yeah, I just turn and try to run for it. So I'm gonna see what happens. So I try to run. Okay, so I managed to get away, and I find a new place of shelter. And that's Agla with me. So I think I managed to get away. I managed to kind of compose myself for a minute. I give Agla a hug and kind of thank them because they probably did get me out of some trouble. And with that, they kind of like poof, disappear again. So I want to see. I kind of feel like I need to protect the shard. I haven't got help. Ariba's hiding as well. So actually, I'll go. Where's Ariba at this point? So I'm going to take. No. Yeah. Okay. So where's Ariba? Okay. So I'm going to say. Ariba has used the time to kind of, and almost like the distraction that I was creating unintentionally. So they used the time to sneak around and pick up the Prisma shard. So they're getting closer and they're trying to like steal it without the others noticing. And let me say, I'm kind of going to say it's about kind of this big, almost like the size of like an American football type thing. And it's kind of pulsing. So I'm going to see, does Ariba manage to successfully kind of secure the the shard without the shadows of despair noticing. No. Okay, so he gets their attention and they turn to him. So I think I'm gonna buy him some time. So I'm gonna again kind of yell at the shadows, go, "Hey, shadows! Like over here!" And I am going to like try and kind of like moths to a flame. I'm going to try and like summon some Prisma and kind of run in the opposite direction to give him time to grab the shard. So I take an action token, and let's see how I get on. Okay, so I managed to do it. I managed to distract them. But, so who's acting like this? I managed to distract them, but they don't really come after me. So they're still quite close, but it's just like, do I get Ariba enough time to do this? So last action, Ariba is going to try one more time. So I haven't made it kind of too easy for him. So no, he doesn't manage to get it. But with that symbol, I kind of feel like I got to bring in Farg. So in his frustration, that's his. Let me see. So he doesn't manage to get away with it. Someone is angry. No, so I'm going to say actually, so because it's kind of meant to work out positiveness, the guards outside have heard the kind of the noise and they've arrived. So we've got a little help, and they arrive with kind of spears and swords, and they all have like a shard of prisma in them, and so that they're kind of glowing with light, because these are the weapons that they use against despair. They're maybe it's this kind of special unit of the village force that aside from the day-to-day kind of policing, these are the watch that deal with despair in particular. So I'm going to call them the Despair Watch. So I actually only need two armed with Prisma weapons. So they're not like myself where I can kind of channel it directly myself. They need some other item and infuse it with that. I probably need a list for groups or organizations actually, and not just characters. Okay, so they arrive, and I'm just gonna. So they arrive, and I'm gonna say, how do the shadows react to their arrival? So I can use a block token. Oh. Okay, so I would say they, they don't like the idea of the. So let me angle that slightly. The idea of kind of being infused with hope, with that kind of prisma energy. So they basically kind of almost like parachute in reverse. They the energy starts to dispel and they kind of begin to rise up. Before the scene ends, though, we learn that so we're going to learn that they have some kind of evil master. Well, I mean, I kind of think it's despair, but let's see. Okay, so luckily I think so how do we show this coming out? So I want to show that they're kind of being guided. Um, do you know what? I'm going to do something different. So I'm going to take this kind of house symbol. I'm going to put it in here. Because it's assumed they're working for this bear. But I think as they kind of dissipate out, we actually see them going up and back down into another building, which is the home of the kind of the mayor of the town of the port of the town that we called Glorthan. So it's more like they are, whilst they're working for the Spare, they're being directed by, we think, so maybe as they're kind of, as they kind of rise up and escape out, we actually see kind of through the window the figure. So as they rise up, we see a figure kind of standing on a balcony on like a kind of metallic gantry and it's the head of the port council. It might be the Guild of Merchants, right? And the Guild of Merchants is standing on the gantryway, and we see him looking down, surveying the scene. And he kind of like in frustration, like turns and is like the cloak on his back, swooshes around as he storms out of the building. Okay, so I'm gonna check like how is he controlling them? I think might be a question I would ask. This. So I'm looking at the three symbols here. Let me just move into camera a little bit more. So how is he controlling them? I'm gonna, I think, cheat a little bit and say he's got a locket that has this kind of it's like a fountain or like a that contains a source of despair encased in this locket, and through that he's able to kind of manipulate and control the shadows. So I'm going to call it very simply the locket of despair. No, I'm not. I'm going to call it the locket of dark thoughts. And I'm going to mention the merchant, head of the Merchants Guild. I realized to meet someone who's actually like working for Hope. Okay, so he kind of swoops away. And I think we need to go and confront him. So, yeah, so let's see what I get here. Perfect. Okay, so we kind of with the guards in tow and their weapons, we go we followed the head of the Merchants Guild to their home. So I'm going to take that symbol and say where we come face to face. Let me suit them. And the shadows of despair and they start. He's basically trying to accuse us of spreading lies and rumors, and they, yeah. So he's kind of accusing us of spreading lies and rumors and saying that it's complete rubbish, and ordering that we be arrested. And the shadow creatures, and he orders the kind of shadow creatures to start attacking us. So let me deal with the attack first. No, I'm going to start with. So we're at the house. We're outside the house, I'd say. No, it can't be because he doesn't want to reveal the shadow god. So we're inside the house. And he accuses us of actually bringing being responsible for bringing the shadows of despair to the town. And yes, that we should be kind of arrested immediately. So I've only got time for action here. So I'm going to kind of try and explain it and tell them the story and say, no, you need to believe me, that it's not visible on him now, but I'll say he's using a locket to control the shadows. It's not me. So let's see how we get on with that. Okay, so the other merchants in the guild kind of start to believe us. But they're like, you're just a child, though. What do you know? And they want, so they kind of expel us, actually, and send us out of the room and say, we're going to deal with this. And I know, I'm going to be left to face with the shadows. So they shove me out of the room. They won't listen to anything myself and Ariba have to say. They're like, we'll deal with our own. Just leave. So when I'm out of the room, in the side area, that's when the shadows swoop down. So maybe I'm kind of back out on the. Actually, I've been kind of summarily like shoved out onto the street, and that's when the shadows swoop down and start to attack me. I'm gonna look around and see if there's anybody who can. What am I gonna do? I am going to summon Farg. I've been left on my own here, and I'm going to try and summon Farg to help me defend against the shadows. I'm pretty sure Farg will chase them off. So let's see how we get on with that. So no, I'm not able to summon Farg. I think my fear is still a little too high. So I look around, I think, and see. That was my second action, I think. So I'm going to look around and see if, what am I going to do? Okay, I've tried summon Farg. That hasn't worked. I am going to, I'm going to grab one of the guards. I'm going to go find the guards and get their help and grab one of the weapons so that I can kind of channel my Prisma through that. So I run to find the guards to help me deal with these. No, I don't find it. But, okay, so I don't find it, but I do find a weapon. Ooh. So I don't convince them to help me, but they, let's see, I can't find them, but I do find a weapon in there. Yeah, so the guards aren't there. I kind of run to where the kind of office. They're like their station. And like I'm asking people, where's the guards? And these shadow creatures, shadows of despair, are kind of swooping in and out and moving between the shadows as they pursue me. And myself and Ariba are running, and we run to the station and we burst in the door and there's nobody there. But luckily, there is a weapon propped up against the wall. Someone's going to be in trouble for this. And it is kind of like a large staff with kind of prism shards embedded on each end of it. So mustering all of my strength, I turn kind of on the steps of the guard station, and I turn to face the shadows of despair, and I'm like, come on then, and I'm like hoping I can channel my energy through this. So I'm going to swing at the shadows, trying to go for like a 1-2 hit with both of them. Okay, so I managed to hit them both, but panic starts to spread throughout the town. And when they see what's happening, so actually, in what happens is when I hit them, they kind of dispel, and the waft of the shadows kind of blows through me, and I get to see all of these. I experience these moments of despair. So I'm going to use my flashback token actually and display that and say, just for that split second, as in slow motion, these wisps are kind of passing through me from the shadows. I'm a child again, a young child in the village, and I am seeing this huge, colossal creature, which is despair, looming over the town. There are shadows flitting everywhere. There are essentially kind of like dark monks who are the bringers. They are rounding up people and capturing them. They are kind of setting light to buildings, and I am being kind of like grabbed and kind of handled, being passed from one family member to the other. So my my kind of father is racing with me, and he suddenly just turns into wisps of smoke, and I see a bringer basically blasting them with these kind of dark strands that envelope him. He drops me, and I scrabble and run kind of around the corner, grabbing my breath. I hear a call from across the street from a window, and it's my grandmother, and she beckons me over, and I scrabble across the street and hide with her. And she takes me to a kind of a trapdoor where my mother is waiting as well, with my my two brothers, and she tells us to climb down there. There's a way out of the village that way, and as we go to close the door, my mother steps back and stays behind and says, "Go find safety and look after your younger brothers." As I go through the tunnels, I hear the cries of the kind of the moans from the shadows, and I hear them into the tunnel as we try to crawl forward. Eventually, we find a small area where there's actually a glowing light, and there is a Prisma shard there, buried deep beneath the ground. And when I look up, I realize it's connected to the well. in the village, the empty well, and I hold on to it for dear life, and I hold my brother's. And as I hold it, I notice that essentially around my chest starts to glow in rhythm and tandem with the shard that we're holding. At which point, I fall asleep and black out. So I think I should end the episode there. We've managed to defeat the shadows. No, actually, you know what? So I black out, but I wake up again in the village. You need to have like an aftermath. So I wake up in the village, and Terrapan is there beside me. So Gorkin is there beside me, feeding me some of the lightning herbs, and the guards of the town are there, and there's no sign of the merchant, or the merchant's guild. I don't know what they've done with him, or whether they've done anything to help. I think I should have spent an extra token actually for that last action. So they say, you're safe now. Kind of rest up. Thank you for kind of protecting our village. You got the makings of a great guardian. And yeah, so on the back of that, I think, is there any other actions? I don't think there's any other actions I need to take, really. My character's just exhausted. I'm going to rest up here in Gorkin for a few days, or in Glorthan, before I head on. But I kind of feel like I want to know what Gorkin's planning to do. So yeah, I'm going to kind of bend things a little bit. So I'm going to use an action token to ask Gorkin, can he tell us, where he's headed, and whether he'd like to join us on our trip. So he says yes. Okay, so we might have like another companion with us on our journey. Because he says, well, it doesn't seem like Glorthan is too safe kind of right now. So I'm due to move on anyway. And so I think we'll join. We'll have Gorkin join us for the next episode. And that's it. I'll write up his character sheet before we start and before we jump in, and have that ready to go. But that's the end of episode 2 of Untold Adventures Await, and I'm so happy that I have been able to keep it in under the hour. And again, I'm realizing when I'm trying to manage this, I miss all the questions. So thanks, Yoss and the Quack and Neil for joining me for this. I will make sure to turn on the comments so I see them when we're streaming. But as you can see, once I kind of get into the story, I get kind of caught up in the flow of that. Yeah, I'm kind of happy with how that turned out. Definitely improvement on the first one, and I'll keep working on that as we go. Because again, it's trying to balance the flow of the game of Untold with the story that you're trying to tell as well. So let's. I'm going to kind of summarize the episodes into my notebook, so I have them, and we'll come back tomorrow and continue episode 3 as Lenore, Ariba, and Gorkin continue their journey towards Beacon, so that Lenore can actually begin her training in earnest. See you all tomorrow. Oh, before I forget, please, I'll do my banner thing. So I'm going to turn that off. And you can basically follow us on social media. through We Are Hub Games, both on Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter. There's lots of great reviews coming out for Prisma Arena, which goes on sale. So please do get your pre-order in, or even better, ask your local game store, and you should be able to get one of these like super cool limited edition alternate art poses with new stickers as well. You need to ask your local store about getting them in, which is encouraging them to pre-order. Sales pitch over. I will see you all back here tomorrow at 10 o'clock for the next episode of Prisma Arena, the animated series. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you tomorrow. Bye. Oh, it would help if I actually hit end broadcast.